Why not cross by boat CH-014? The chaste woman. A few days later, TanJianci was buried. Almost half of Lida Prefecture citizens came to see off this kind-hearted eldest son of the Shay family. The funeral procession wound from Wangshuo all the way to the city gates with paper money fluttering through the air like a grand snowstorm. This winter cunningly sent coldness deep into people's hearts in various forms, and no one could see the end in this heavy snow. Nanyi was squeezed in the middle of the procession, surrounded on all sides by people who blocked her way, leaving her with nowhere to escape. Shay Keishan walked alone on the outskirts of the procession, with no one willing to accompany him. As they walked, the formation began to scatter, and he moved silently until he was beside Nanyi. Why are you still obediently staying here? Didn't you say you were going to run away? His voice was quiet, only loud enough for her to hear. Nanyi looked up at Shay Keishan. After days of watching over the coffin, her face looked somewhat haggard, but there was no sign of despair. Didn't you say it yourself? Running away is useless. Now you're listening. Since running away doesn't work, I guess I have to die in front of you. Otherwise, wouldn't it be boring for you? Nanyi's expression was obedient, but her tone carried a mocking edge. After speaking, Nanyi quickened her pace and pulled ahead of Shay Keishan. Shay Keishan looked at her retreating figure, a faint smile curving his lips. She didn't seem like someone ready to face death. The funeral procession had just left the city when Gu Sha led a group of Qi soldiers to follow closely behind. Thanks to the defection of the governor, the Qi soldiers now had free access to Lida Prefecture, holding a significant advantage. Although no intelligence had been received, Gu Sha had remained cautious. In any chaotic situation, there could be places to confuse the enemy's sight. However, due to the formalities of funerals, they couldn't forcefully stop the noble families from holding their ceremonies. They could only send more men to keep watch. The Shay family tomb was located in a prime feng shui spot on Hukui Mountain. The procession continued through the mournful music, climbing the mountain path until they reached the Shay family ancestral tomb. The lengthy ceremony began, rise, kneel, bow, and chant with so many formalities that it nearly numbed the participants. Finally, the coffin was lowered into the earth, and the mourners respectfully made way as a cup of poisoned wine was brought to Nanyi. The efficient intoned Liu Yang of the Shay family, a woman of wisdom with a pure and graceful demeanor, loyal and chaste in nature, deeply devoted to her husband, TanJianci. She upheld righteousness and moral clarity, willing to join her husband in the afterlife, to be reborn together as a married couple in the next life. Her steadfast heart and blood-filled devotion are worthy of the God's testament and can be felt through gold and stone alike. Nanyi couldn't fully understand the ornate words, but she could guess that they were praising her before urging her to die obediently. She felt countless sympathetic gazes from the crowd, but behind those silent looks was the understanding that this was what should happen. She tightened her grip on the dagger hidden in her sleeve. A few days ago, she had chosen not to run away, intending to gamble on this moment. But she wasn't completely certain. When faced with overwhelming power, a person sometimes grows weary and thinks this is too troublesome. Maybe it's easier to just die. Young madam, please join the eldest son in the afterlife. When Nanyi hesitated and didn't take the cup of poison, the maidservant quietly reminded her. The maid's words instantly snapped Nanyi back to reality. Hesitantly, she took the cup of poison, staring at the small surface of the liquid, her reflection appearing in the water. She was like a fish in that pool. I still have an unfulfilled wish. Nanyi slowly lifted her head and spoke aloud, each word distinct. Before anyone could ask her what she meant, she suddenly drew the dagger hidden in her sleeve and poured the poison all over the blade. She angrily threw the cup to the ground, and the flawless white jade shattered into pieces. Young madam. What are you doing? Nanyi shook the dagger, scaring away those who tried to stop her. In noble families, even the maidservants were pampered and sheltered, never having seen someone desperate enough to risk their life. They were too afraid to approach her with a sharp blade, screaming as they scrambled back. Finding an opening, Nanyi rushed directly toward Shay Keishan. She had only one thought in mind: to take him hostage. The crowd had no idea what her intentions were, and no one instinctively tried to protect Shay Keishan. The Qi soldiers were still some distance behind the funeral procession, and couldn't reach the scene in time. Shay Keishan, still recovering from his injuries, moved slowly. With the perfect timing, Nanyi was able to hold the dagger to his neck. Breathing heavily, Nanyi shouted, "It was Shay Keishan, this traitor and rebel, who caused my husband's death. I will avenge him." The Shay family members were stunned, and among the funeral procession, many commoners who had come to pay their respects were unaware that Nanyi intended to follow her husband in death. Upon hearing her passionate words, their anger flared towards the Qi soldiers and the traitor. The crowd erupted in a frenzy. A loyal and righteous daughter. Kill Shay Keishan. Kill the traitor, and avenge Lord Shay. Shay Keishan lowered his eyes indifferently, noticing that Nan Yi had to stand on tiptoe with great effort to press the dagger to his neck. He found the sight somewhat ridiculous, and a fleeting smile appeared at the corner of his lips. Gu Sha quickly led the Qi soldiers to encircle them. However, the commoners blocked the Qi soldiers, and Gu Sha, unwilling to kill indiscriminately, found himself hindered. Step aside. This is our Qi envoy. The more Gu Sha emphasized that they were from Qi, the more the commoners became enraged. Governor Huang Yankun also stepped forward with his men, panicking, and trying to smooth things over. Everyone, this is Lord Zai's funeral. You all came to bid him farewell, it's not the time to clash. There must be some misunderstanding, we can sort it out. Huang Yankun approached Shay Keishan, lowering his voice to advise, Lord Shay, the people are enraged. If you insist on killing Lord Zai's widow, it will only confirm the suspicion that you caused his death. For the sake of your future dealings in Lida Prefecture, and the Shay family, she must live today, no matter what. Shay Keishan frowned, his displeasure evident. On the ground, Nan Yi lowered her head, awaiting her final judgment. She had gambled her life on this moment, betting that she could put Shay Keishan in a difficult position. She was no longer the beggar who saw life and death as insignificant. Now, she represented the integrity of a noble family. If he wanted to stay in the Shay family and in Lida Prefecture, he couldn't go so far as to kill her. If Shay Keishan allowed Nan Yi to live, then the Shay family could no longer justify her death, or they would appear more inhumane than the Qi soldiers. The noble family cared about its face. Fine, Shay Keishan finally relented. Qin Shi was a loyal woman, deeply devoted to my elder brother, so she misunderstood me. I will not hold it against her. Let this woman continue to mourn for my brother. With that, the verdict was made, and her life was spared. In an instant, Nan Yi collapsed, completely drained. She had staked everything on this without leaving any strength to rise again, even if she survived. She had forgotten how she made her way back to the Shay family, only vaguely remembering that the entire funeral procession had erupted in chaos far beyond what she had imagined. At that time, the maidservants had helped her into the sedan chair, and from the corner of her eye, she saw Shay Keishan smile at her. What did that smile mean? Or had she imagined it? Many vague thoughts flashed through her mind, but she had no energy to consider them further. Her mind was consumed by one overwhelming, chaotic thought: I finally survived.